What's up, everybody? My name is Calvin Chase, and today is the NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2 Dose review. I promised I would get it out for NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3, and there's a good chance this might come out. I'm recording this late Friday night. This will probably be uploaded on Saturday morning. And like I said before, I loved NXT Takeover Brooklyn, and I wondered, going into the Brooklyn 2 last year, how can they possibly top it? And after rewatching Brooklyn for the first time fully since it aired, I can say I didn't love it as much as I used to. And why, like I said, even though I didn't like it, I still really love it. It's not the show I once thought it was, even though it has one of my favorite matches of all time on it. But Takeover Brooklyn 2, once again emanating from the Barclays Center, was another fantastic show. But let me just go by match. And now the show opens off with a video package about what last year represented and where they were last year. If people saying I wasn't I was ready for the moment. Bailey saying I would take Brooklyn over again, and and it was a pretty good video package. It didn't open up with Triple H again, but you can't repeat the same thing twice, and you probably won't open up with Triple H tomorrow night either. Now the first match on the card was Austin Aries versus No Way Jose. No Way Jose actually has a pretty good dancing gimmick and actually got over. He got a huge pop and chance of his name as he entered the arena, and he had a whole conga line going around the ring. Austin Aries came out with a less flashy entrance, and of course he had a huge pop too, and I think the crowd was more behind Austin Aries. The one thing I like about the match is once it started, Jose was not like, this wasn't going to be a fun match. He does have like a serious edge to him. I mean, before the match, he showed a replay of what happened a month before it, when 2 months first when Austin Aries attacked him. Then he got him back, and the look on his face, like the intensity in his eyes, were just wow. That's how you know he would take him seriously. Even though, if we're being honest, I don't think No Way Jose's gimmick is gonna get over the main roster. But even though Jose started off pretty intense, Aries still countered it, and he controlled a lot of the match. He worked on his chin and neck, of course, to set for last chancery. Jose had some pretty good moves. Austin set up the last chancery, but Jose got to the bottom rope. One of my favorite moves of Austin Aries he hit was when he did a suicide dive between the bottom and middle rope. That's really cool to see, because how small and quick and like agile it would be to pull that off, and he pulls it off perfectly. Jose hit a TKO that looked pretty good, and he almost won, and then hit a Falcon's Arrow for another close two counts. But Aries caught Jose with a sunset flip powerbomb, put him in the last chancery again, and won by submission. After the bell, Austin put Jose back in the last chancery until Hideo Itami made his return to NXT and got a huge pop. And then after first Aries attacked him, but then for the first time in NXT, Hideo hit the GTS to go to sleep, which he invented, not CM Punk. Austin was the best wrestler in the match, but Jose more than held his own. And while like I said, he's a fun-loving newcomer, but he knows when to be serious. But the fun-loving newcomer wasn't gonna hang with a former Ring of Honor champion, but he did a good job of hanging with him. He showed that he can wrestle, and the post-match events looked like at the time like it was set up a Tommy versus Aries feud, which would have been great, but as we all know, Hideo got injured again. Story of his NXT life. But anyway, the match itself was pretty enjoyable. I gave it a B-. Next up was Ember Moon versus Billie Kay, and Ember Moon's debut. Billie Kay came out first, and Ember had her entrance, the blood moon behind her music playing in the red contacts. I'm wearing contacts right now, but as you can see, they ain't red. It's just funny how she debuted in that building last year, and a year later in the exact same building, I have her. She's gonna compete for the women's championship, and I think will win it. But I'll say that for the end of the video. This match was okay. Moon had some really good offense. And her finisher, it popped the crowd. And I think her finisher and athleticism alone got her over with the crowd. The match was just supposed to be a showcase of her. While Billie Kay didn't do anything wrong, it was pretty much a one-dimensional match that did its job, and it was capped off with one of the most exciting finishes I've ever seen. Of course, at the time they just called it what do they call it? A twisting stunner from the top rope, a flying twisting stunner. But now it's just called the Eclipse, and I like the name Eclipse more. Unfortunately, other than the ending, this match wasn't entertaining to see. It wasn't a bad match, but I can't give it a high grade just because I love the ending and Ember's entrance. I'm gonna give the match a C plus because it doesn't hit B territory because nothing else about the match. I know I'm kind of being hypocritical. I can't give a higher grade. But I feel like nothing about the match was truly great other than her entrance and um, her finisher. Now the next match is complete opposite of everything I just said. My entrance is Andrade Cien Almas face Bobby Roode. Don't even need to say anything about Bobby Roode's entrance. It was glorious, and I know that's a stupid thing to say because it's an obvious term, but there's not much I can say other than being glorious. I've seen so many funny jokes and takes on people saying about this entrance. I was an atheist. Then I saw Bobby Roode's entrance. I actually originally didn't really care much for the song "Glorious Domination" until I saw that entrance. Then I said, okay, yeah, this song is epic. This is the complete opposite of the last match, as in nothing about the match was all that good besides the ending. But with this match, the ending was the only problem with it. Andrade looked pretty good. He looked better than he did in his match against Ty Dillinger. But let's be honest, this match is about Bobby Roode from the entrance, how Corey Grace and Tom Phillips, who are one of the best, who are a very underrated commentary team that no one talks about, they put him over. Roode looked like a star. Honestly, it's funny how that one entrance and theme made him feel more of a bigger deal in NXT than he ever was in TNA. Maybe besides when he won a championship, even then that's still something. One of my favorite spots in the match was when Andrade hit a corkscrew clothesline over the top rope to the outside and landed on his feet. That was a cool spot. But it just said how Almas never really got over in NXT. My only problem with the match, like I said, was the way it ended with a spine buster and a glorious bomb, a pump handle slam for the victory. I'm glad he switched it to the glorious DDT as his finisher, but a pump handle slam just doesn't seem, I don't want to say glorious, but it doesn't seem like a really devastating way to end a match. But other than this the ending, this was a really solid match. I give it a B minus. Next up, the match of the night, tag team title match. DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus The Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. This is honestly one of those matches that it was so good, but it wasn't the best match of SummerSlam weekend. That honor goes to AJ and John. But I'm just saying, the false finishes in this match are some of the best false finishes you will ever see. I mean, if you've never seen this match, you don't know who won. The false finishes will really get you. This match, I would say that if, like, in terms of as a performance sense, this is a match I would show like to any newcoming tag teams. And the craziest thing about this match is that they somehow topped it at Takeover Toronto, but that's a story for another day. Like I said, this match is just great from start to finish of how Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson played his heels, like working on Ciampa. And when it looked like he was going to tag in Gargano, Dash flipped over the top rope on purpose and distracted ref, so when he got the tag, ref didn't see it. The Revival are my favorite tag team in WWE. They're the best tag team because they get what heel tag team wrestling is. And you hear Jim Cornette praising them all the time because it's true. They're a really good heel tag team, and DIY were a perfect babyface. Like I said, the full finishes from getting roll-ups, spears. They hit their tag team finishing move like a sandwich kick. They got the 3 count, but Dash put Dawson's leg on the ropes, and the whole audience erupted when the 3 count was made. And DIY hugging each other. But then the referee said the match wasn't over, and the Revival, they attacked Johnny's leg. put him in that in a move where they wrap his leg around and then jump on it, then put him in like a figure four, and unfortunately Johnny tapped out, a reverse figure four, and Johnny tapped out. As the whole Bartlett Center tried to will him on, it was such a disappointing way to see DIY lose at the time. Even though I didn't know anything about them, but just seeing the emotion they had in the crowd, it makes me gravitate towards them. And of course, we know what happened at Takeover Toronto, but at the time, it did look like it might be a double a turn a backstab, like champ to turn on Gargano. They saved that for a better moment. And like I said, if you want to, this match is with so many near falls, really good tag team psychology, and a good story told. This is honestly one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen. And like I said before, the incredible thing is they topped it with an incredible 2 out of 3 falls match at NXT Takeover Toronto, which I also recommend watching. I'm gonna give this match an A-. Next up, the NXT Women's Championship match, Bayley versus Asuka. When I did my SummerSlam 2016 review last year, I said this was the most brutal women's match I've ever seen. And while sure we've had Hell in a Cell matches, steel cage matches, ladder matches, tables matches, Iron Women's matches, Falls Count Anywhere, this is still somehow one of the most grueling women matches I've ever seen. Just from the fact that these two women didn't need weapons. The way they were hitting each other and kicking each other and the submissions used, it made me cringe. Now, I already reviewed that match in Dallas, which I gave a B+ to. I thought it was a really good match. And in Dallas, Asuka overwhelmed Bayley, but on Takeover 2, Bayley she came with a different game plan. She said herself she wasn't ready for Asuka. Now the match started off with Asuka absolutely destroying Bayley, and the crowd booed it. It was booing. And Corey Graves Corey Graves said, "You could be looking at a route tonight, Tom." And for a second there, I really did believe it. I believe that when the first time I saw this match, wow, this might be a squash. I told Kyrie, I was watching with Kyrie, I said, this match might end up being a squash. That wouldn't make a lot of people happy, but it would leave a pretty big impression. But Bayley did fight back with knees and with some knees and running back elbows and things like that. Asuka hit a Shining Wizard for a close 2 count. Bayley tied Asuka in a trio woe and delivered a big elbow. That got a 2 count. Asuka got Bayley in an ankle lock and worked on her leg a little bit, but she fought it off. Bayley, one of my favorite moments in the match was when Asuka started kicking Bayley just while she was on her knees. Bayley stood up and literally slapped her and said, "Hit me in the face." Those are very good character moments that WWE's main roster just doesn't do Bayley justice with. Just telling Asuka as hard as Asuka can hit and kick, hit me in the face, in the way she said it was just perfectly done. Asuka had locked in the Asuka lock, the move that beat her at Takeover Dallas, but Bayley fought out of it twice, and hit the Bayley belly for a close 2 count. And when she hit the Bayley belly, you could see Sasha and Becky Lynch in the audience in the front row, and they really believed Bayley was gonna win. Asuka tried to lock in the Asuka lock again, but Bayley counted into a pinfall. But then after that, Asuka delivered 3 straight kicks and a really hard kick to the head, which knocked Bayley out for the victory. After the match, Asuka she helped Bayley up. They hugged each other in a sign of respect. And then Asuka walked away, and Bayley soaked in the adulation and love of the fans for one more time. But thank you, Bayley chants. Bayley walked. She sat in the ring for a second and then walked out to She hugged her 3 other horsewomen, Sasha and Becky, which got cheers. Charlotte, even because she's still a heel, got booed. She hugged her mom. She hugged her biggest fan, Izzy. And this is a moment that always gets me. Like, first time I saw it, it did make me tear up a little bit. And especially seeing, Izzy, she's still a little girl at the end of the day. Her crying and she heard Bayley saying good luck. Bayley, she walked and points to the NXT sign and just said, it's basically saying, peace to NXT. And it's just sad how far she fell going to the main roster after being on NXT. But I've said that enough. And it's matches like this to show, this is why Bayley's character can work. Because yes, she has a childlike enthusiasm, but look at how, her physicality Look at her telling Asuka to hit her. Just watch the pre-match promo for the match if you don't believe me. This is Corey Graves said it perfectly after the match. Not every story ends with a happy ending. Well, he didn't say that. He said not every story has a happy ending. But same thing. It was a lot of times in the match you really believe Bayley would win. But just like in Dallas, Asuka was just the better wrestler. And Bayley received a hero's exit, and she left the arena which was her last NXT match. Honestly, I would honestly say that despite Finn Balor, Neville, Sami Zayn, and a lot of other wrestlers, there's not a single wrestler that buys what NXT is about more than Bayley. That was her swan song, and she left a legacy that no man or woman could ever equal. Well, yes, Asuka's a better champion. Finn was a better champion. The connection Bayley had to the audience, is just something that I don't think anyone will ever match. It's just, like I said, it's a shame how far she fell on the main roster. But like I said, this is one of the most hard-hitting and physical women's matches I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to give this match a B+. Finally, the main event. The NXT Championship match. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe. First off, violinist Lee England Jr. He played Shinsuke Nakamura to the ring, and which was honestly my favorite entrance that night. Yes, Bobby Roode's entrance was glorious, but there's something about I just love Nakamura entrance. And Lee England Jr. is actually a really good violinist when he plays for Shinsuke. He's done it twice, and he'll probably do it at SummerSlam. And I'm gonna start listening to his violin music. I'm sorry, but if you didn't get goosebumps from that, I don't know what to say. Joe had control of the match early. He applied some STFs. This match is a hard hitting fight with kicks. Both men are very tough workers. Some of my they trade submissions. One of my favorite moments when Shinsuke tried to put in lock Joe in an arm breaker. I'm sorry, arm break, same thing. And then he turned into a triangle choke, and Joe turned that into a cloverleaf. That was a really cool counter. Another spot was when Joe tried to put Shinsuke in a coquina clutch, but but Shinsuke backed him to the ropes, and when Shinsuke ran into him, Joe hit him with a really strong knee like he was gonna knock him out. But we'll get to that in a second. Joe did get in the coquina clutch, but Shinsuke got to the rope. Shinsuke hit a really good German suplex, and that takes strength for someone of Joe's size, and it looked pretty like it hurt. Joe hit a snap power slam right after that when Shinsuke went for the Kinshasa. Joe hit the muscle buster, but Shinsuke kicked out. Then after that, Joe tried to go for second muscle buster, but he slipped, I guess. And Shinsuke hit the Kinshasa, which actually really broke Joe's jaw. You can tell he's holding his jaw like it really broke his jaw. But Joe kicked out. And after that, Shinsuke climbed to the ropes, knee Joe in the back, then hit with a second Kinshasa. For the 1, 2, 3, Nakamura became NXT champion. This match, it had slow point. It was slow at points, but from the moment Shinsuke came out to the second Kinshasa, it felt like an epic match. It was just as physical and epic as I thought it would be. The action was brutal, and was it as good as say the NXT Tag Team title belt or the Women's Championship match? For me personally, no. But that doesn't take away from how good the match was. The two Kinshasas, and like I said, the first one, breaking Joe's jaw, perfect way to put over how much a war the match was, and this did lead to a rematch, a few more rematches, but not one was already based on a brand, but this match solidified it. Now, what are my final thoughts on NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2? I gave Aries and No Way Jose a B-. I gave Ember Moon and Billy Kay a C+. I gave Bobby Roode and Andrade Cien almost a B-. I gave Tag Team title match an A-. Bayley and Asuka a B+, and the main event a B, and the NXT title match a B+. I gave this. I think that all rounds up to probably about a B+. I think I did give the same grade as Takeover Brooklyn 1. I think I actually like this one a little bit more. Now, while yes, Takeover Brooklyn still has my favorite match, the first one has my favorite match out of both. I just feel like this card had more matches I enjoyed because I like with Takeover Brooklyn. I love the women's title match, like the ladder match, but nothing else really reached the high points. Meanwhile, all three of the main events, big match, the title matches delivered, especially the tag team title match. So you already have 3 matches over 2 right there. And the rest of the card was pretty solid. Not saying that Brooklyn is bad or not solid, but I feel like Brooklyn 2 just is a little bit better. And it's just funny how, you see a lot of people say Brooklyn was better. But when you look at it, I think Brooklyn 2 is actually the better of the two shows. Now, and before I close this out, let me just quickly give my prediction for Brooklyn 3. This is not a, what's what I'm looking for. I'm not going to A&L, just give you my quick predictions. Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas, Johnny Gargano. Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami, Aleister Black. Arthur Payne versus Sanity, I think Arthur Payne are going to win, even though I want Sanity to win. Oscar versus Ember Moon, I think Oscar Streak's coming to the end. I'm picking Ember. And Bobby versus Drew McIntyre, I'm picking Drew McIntyre. Even though I really don't care who wins that match. Yeah, there's not much I can say. NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2 was great, and I cannot wait for NXT Brooklyn 3 tomorrow night. My name is Cameron Chase, and I will see you guys later.